Hey guys, it's me, Johnny Crims 2000 here, and welcome to the third and final part of my Let's Play of Streets of Rage 1. So anyway, immediately we start off. This is stage number... God, it was just on screen. How could I forget the stage number? Anyway, this stage is rather interesting. Forgot the name of it. I think it's an elevator or something. Sorry, I don't have my notes with me right now, but this stage is actually probably, I would say, the most interesting stage of them all. Even better than the last stage. But the last stage is more of a hassle, really. More of a draining level. But this stage is, sorry, it's called Fright Elevator. I just pulled it up. It's called Fright Elevator. Or Freight Elevator. And this stage, obviously, the big gimmick is that you're on this elevator outside of a building. By the way, what kind of building has this kind of an elevator? But whatever, that's beside the point. And this stage can be all kinds of fun because enemies are constantly pouring in from the left. You're on the right, and as you can see there, it is very easy to toss them off. And that's obviously an instant KO. They can be at full life. As long as you throw them off, you are golden. You can just keep flinging them off. And the bad thing, though, is that they can do the same to you. So if you get an opponent or an enemy that can throw you, then they can pretty much do the same thing. Or if you get near enough to the right side and you attempt to jump over, like if you... my friend Cory has done a couple times. He's better at it than I am. Where if you try to, for example, if you're in front of them and you grab them from the front, but you jump over them so that you're standing behind them, you're grabbing them behind them. When you jump over to their back, if their back is already facing the edge on the right, and you jump over them trying to get behind them, you'll actually fall. And I think it'll happen to Cory here in a minute, I think, if it hasn't already. I'm sorry if it has. I've been paying attention to my notes, but I do remember it happened to him. And it was all kinds of funny. I remember I laughed so hard because he was so mad. And then you may ask yourself, how can you use your special attacks if you're this far up in the sky? But oh, as we'll see soon enough, you actually can do it. And it looks kind of ridiculous because there's a bit of a perspective fail that happens every time you use your special attack. As Cory will demonstrate soon enough here. Cory's fun. He's a cool guy. But anyway, I mentioned in the first video that Streets of Rage 1 was ported over to the Master System and the Game Gear, and then that it was ported over to several different compilation CDs and stuff like that. And one of them being this one, the version that I'm playing right now, which is the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. Finally able to say that without stopping. Oh, and here we go. Cory accidentally used his special attacks, and all it does is pan the camera down a couple floors, mind you, goes over, and then there's the car. Now, mind you, we've been going up this elevator for quite a while, so I don't know, a little bit of perspective fail there going on, because you would think that we'd be even higher up. But, yeah. God, what was I talking about now? Oh, yeah. So, as I mentioned before, this game has actually been ported a number of times. It obviously got ported over to the Master System. It got ported over to the Sega Game Gear. Both of those are known as the 8-bit versions. It got ported over to the arcade using a Megatech and Megaplay arcade boards. That's the title. I wrote it down. So one of the big things is that there's a difference in that version in that you actually don't pay for credits. You actually pay for time. So if I think the premise being that, you know, this thing started off as a home console game. So if you've already been playing the heck out of it, you already know what to expect. You already know how to beat it rather well. So if you know, it's possible that you can go throughout this whole thing without ever dying once. But anyway, that was round 7. Yeah, that was a level. No enemy, or rather no boss or anything. It's just kind of just really like a endurance round, really. But oh boy, this is round 8. This is the Syndicate Headquarters, and this is one big narrow hallway, and this, my friends, is what will probably take off most of your lives. So if at all possible, try to make it to this point with as many lives as you can. Because this is truly an endurance test. Now, the one thing that you'll notice immediately off the bat is that if you look at the top of the screen there, you'll notice that we don't have any kind of special attacks. That's because in this level you can't use it. You can't use the special attack. I mean, it makes sense finally. I mean, it made little sense in the last level, but at least in this level it makes sense that you can't use the special attack, because where's the car going to be? I mean, it'd be kind of ridiculous if they parked out right outside and are able to tell where you are exactly just by looking through one of the windows. Just saying. But because of that, most of the time, especially as we'll see later on, you're going to be fighting bosses, all the bosses, over again. All of them. With no stop, well, there's going to be health along the way, but the bosses really are the ones that are going to be killing you the most. And obviously the final boss, but we'll get to him when we get to him. Don't worry, guys, I'll explain everything. But as I was saying, this game got ported over to the arcade, and you only pay for time, not credits, because assuming, you know, you play this game multiple times, they're thinking that, hey, some guy that just, you know, beasted this thing on the Sega Genesis can go an entire quarter without ever dying. So instead of paying for credits, you pay for time, which is interesting. I think maybe more games should do that. Maybe more. Well, I don't know what to think about that. And here's our friend Antonio again. Like, we haven't seen him since, I believe, well, a couple levels back. I think we actually fought him a couple times, I think. But he's green this time. Not really a difference. I think the only difference really being that you can't see his life bar, so you don't know how many lives he has, or life he has, but he's a pushover nonetheless. It won't get tough until Abedidi comes in. But yeah, the game got ported over to a number of different compilation discs and stuff like that. It actually came out on the Sega Genesis again and included as Mega Games 2, which was a compilation cartridge, I guess, that included Golden Axe and Revenge of Shinobi, and two other great Sega Genesis classics. I believe that game only came out for the Sega Mega Drive in Europe, so I'm not exactly sure if it actually came out here in the United States. I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure. It would later come out for the Sega Classics Arcade Collection, which was a Mega CD compilation. So another one for the Sega CD. Again, I'm not exactly sure if it came out here in the United States. I'm thinking it did, but I could be wrong. It came out for something called the Sega Genesis 6-pack, which had Streets of Rage, Sonic the Hedgehog Columns, Revenge of Shinobi, Golden Axe, and Super Hang-On. I do remember that, so I think definitely that one did come out here in the United States. I remember seeing that. The Europe equivalent was called the Mega 6, which was pretty much the same thing, except it had a couple different games on it. It had Streets of Rage, World Cup Italia 90, Columns, Super Monaco GP, Revenge of Shinobi, and Sonic the Hedgehog. So, you know, it's kind of to allure the European crowd, you know. And before I go on, this is Souther again. We fight him again. Obviously, he's a pushover. The next one's obviously going to be Abedidi, but before we get to him, Streets of Rage and its two sequels, actually, again, as I mentioned before, I mentioned it a little bit before, talked about it, how it came out only in the Japanese version of Sonic Gems Collection, because here in the United States they wanted to avoid having the T rating, so they took it out. That stupid rating system. Oh well. And then, of course, Streets of Rage came out, including both of its sequels, Streets of Rage 2 and 3, on the Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, which is the version that I'm playing right now. And in 2012, it was Sega made what's known as the Streets of Rage Collection, which was a package of the 3 Streets of Rage games. And here's Abedidi before I get going. Still, push over. Just do what I'm doing over there in the top right corner and you'll be fine. But the Streets of Rage Collection only came out for Xbox Live Arcade as part of the Sega Vintage Collection range of titles, so that's, you know, it included other Sega classics. Unfortunately, though, it didn't come out for the PlayStation Network. There has been no announcement made that it's going to ever come out, so if you're a Sony fanboy, the only way that you can play the original Streets of Rage at least for now, is to get the Sonic's Mega Wait, how's it go? I forgot Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. There you go. God, it's such a mouthful. It also came out, Streets of Rage also came out for the Virtual Console. The Genesis version came out for the Wii Virtual Console. It was released in America in 2007, so that one's been out for a while now. It came out for on iOS systems, so that means the iPhone, the iPod Touch, and the iPad. Came out in 2009, so if you're more of a handheld console gamer, if you want to call them consoles, I don't personally, that's another thing. You have the luxury of playing Streets of Rage on your Apple products. And then finally it came out for Steam in January of 2011. So there you go. Actually for Steam you can buy it as both a standalone purchase and part of the Sega Mega Drive Classics Pack number 4. And there you go. So you can pretty much get Streets of Rage for pretty much almost any console that you want nowadays. There shouldn't be no reason why you guys don't play this game. It's a fantastic game, highly recommended, Sega classic, and it's always going to be a classic. It's always going to be great. I still have so much fun going back to it. There's no reason why you shouldn't either. Anyway, we just fought Bongo, and if you guys notice a trend here, we're halfway through this bad boy. We're going to get to the final boss eventually. And I didn't really talk about the story. There's really no story to Streets of Rage. I mean, really, what do you want? You go around, there's a bad syndicate that has taken over the city. For some reason, Axel, Adam, and Blaze go around beating bad guys. It's really the same thing that Final Fight did. I would say the advantage goes to Final Fight, mainly because at least that one had a better reason than just randomly going around beating up thugs. You know, at least in that one you have the case where Jessica Hager's daughter got kidnapped, so he has a reason why he's beating these people up. Let's not talk about the fact that he's also the mayor and how dangerous and destructive that could be if the mayor died, but you know, that's another story. We'll get to it when we get around to playing Final Fight, and we will eventually. I plan on doing all these games, by the way, guys, so... And of course, here we go. The final duo, right before the boss door, as you can see on the left. We're fighting Onihime and Yasha again. The same strategy applies. Me and my friend Cory actually employ a different tactic this time. Instead of going just straight on, we actually do a lot of jump kicks, as you'll soon see. Particularly Cory there, because I think at this point he just got tired of being suplexed all the time and being flipped. But that's what I'm doing on the left there. I'm just jumping, kicking, or kneeing rather. Jumping, kicking, jumping, knee. Oh, I missed that. Punch, 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 punch. Jump, knee. Kind of reminds me of Captain Falcon's knee. The knee of justice. But anyway, we're almost done with this, guys. And if you've been able to keep all your continues, you're pretty much set for this one. If you at least have 1 credit left, you should be fine. The ending boss isn't that taxing. He's extremely powerful, and he can throw you off the first time that you fight him. But if you at least have 1 credit left, especially if you're playing 2 players, you should be fine. Mind you, we are playing on the normal difficulty. I don't think we've ever beaten it on hard, but it's not that hard. It's not Streets of Rage 3 hard. But anyway, here we go. We bust through the door, and now we are at Mr. X. And what's this? Text? It might beat him up. Get out of here. Now here he asked you if you consider to become his right-hand man. It is very, very important that you pick no. I cannot stress this enough. You pick no. Because what will end up happening, and by the way, this only happens when you're playing 2-player. But this is one thing that I really liked about Streets of Rage, at least the original one, that wasn't really done in the next 2 games. Was that at the end, when you get to Mr. X, when you're playing 2-player, he actually asks you if you want to become his right-hand man. So you get a choice of saying yes or no. If one of you, at least one of you, says no, then you are immediately put into a one-on-one confrontation with your partner. That's right. You actually have to fight your partner, your friend, the guy who you've been hanging out with from level 1. That's not cool, right? And then of course, because you have to fight him and because you have to beat him, one of you has to win. that means not only will you have to go face Mr. X by yourself, that means that all the damage that you've taken from trying to beat the other player up makes it easier for Mr. X to beat you. So it is imperative that you pick no when you're playing 2-player. Unfortunately for me and Cory, the first time we played this, he was just tapping the buttons wildly just to get through it because, hey, text in my beat 'em up? The crap is that? And unfortunately we had to face each other, and it was all kinds of bad. And but anyway, this is Mr. X. He is the leader of the Syndicate. His true identity is unknown. Yeah, so we don't even know his real name. His name is Mr. X, which is the most original name in the world, by the way. But anyway, he likes to go left and right, and he shoots his little gun. You can actually punch the bullets out of the air. Don't ask me how that makes any kind of sense, but you can. And of course, if he hits you with the butt of his gun, he does mega damage. I think he does half damage, or at least close to half damage. It seems like a third of damage. But enough punches and you'll succeed, and his bullets or coins or whatever that is goes flying everywhere. He's really not that hard, honestly. And we win! Hooray! That's it! Round 8 clear. There's no extra boss, there's no plot twist, except for that little tidbit where you can choose to betray your friend. And there actually is a point to that. That's actually one thing that I really liked about the original Streets of Rage, in that if you, as we'll see here, you'll get a, I guess, standard ending if you beat it. Any kind of way. You beat it here, and you'll get this ending, whether you're playing 2 players, whether you're playing 1 player, whether you're playing on normal, easy, or hard mode. But if you actually choose the no option, if you choose to beat up your partner, you actually get an entirely different ending, which is really unique. And I'll actually go ahead and read what's up. Basically, what ends up happening is that whoever ends up winning between the one versus player 1 versus player 2 death match, I guess, at the end, and you end up beating Mr. X, you become the leader of the Syndicate. So what ends up happening is that you become the boss, and that's it. You actually get shown whatever character you choose. You have a little picture at the end where you're sitting down in a big chair, and he ends up laughing. He or she ends up laughing, and it's actually kind of disturbing because now you have to, it's assumed that he becomes evil, that the person that you choose has become evil, and now he's leading the Syndicate, whatever that is. Although I have to say, it is a bit strange, since we went through the entire game beating up the Syndicate. So by the end of it, what Syndicate do you have to rule over? You just beat them all up. Strange Capcom, Sega. So used to playing Capcom games on my channel. But anyway, guys, that's the end. That was Streets of Rage 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really recommend that you guys pick this game up. It's a fantastic game. It's a great game to play with your buddy, as I just showed with this. It can be a lot of fun. Now, obviously, it doesn't end there. There's Streets of Rage 2 and there's Streets of Rage 3, and I will be playing those 2 eventually in the coming future. But yeah, in the meantime, go out and get this game. It's really fun. I mentioned all the ports and stuff for this game. There's really no reason why you shouldn't play this game. The gameplay is great. Classic beat 'em up game. With a lot of fun with your buddy. The music is fantastic. That's actually one of the things that I didn't get to mention early on, is the music for the Streets of Rage series is great. I mean, go online, go YouTube, look them up. The composer for this game was Yuzo Koshiro. I actually made an effort to give him credits because the music is awesome, and it'll only get better in Streets of Rage 2. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. I hope you guys liked that. I don't know what game I'm going to be doing next, but look out. If you like this Let's Play of mine, be sure to leave me a comment, give me a like, and if you like my videos and you want to hear more from me in the future, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.